morning and welcome to What's New with Mike and Jeff. Your Saturday morning hobby hangout coming to you live via the interwebs. I'm your host, Mike. With me is Jeff Papa.
Hello.
Little squeaky down there.
Hello. Jeff
Joe,
Papa.
Joe sent me a GIF right before the show of just a finger pressing the button. And I was offended because it was a whole finger, not a half a finger.
That's rude.
This is so rude. Joe didn't send me a half a finger pressing the button.
Get it right, man. Get it right.
So what's up, buddy?
Not much, big man. Just painting and living and painting. That's pretty much my life now.
All right. I've been painting. I'm so close to finishing Jason's project.
Oh, sweet.
This morning I primed up 3 more of the models, and I only have 3 left that aren't primed outside of the I've got to do the display Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker fighting thing. But I'm end of April, I should be completely done so I can kick off my secret project.
Ooh, secret project.
Ooh, secret projects.
I love secret projects.
Secret projects. I guess before we get started, what's that? New stream?
That's me. I don't know. It's something from StreamYard. I just put it up there.
I got an email from StreamYard about some sort of someone. We got like some sort of credit or like a announcement because somehow we referred somebody.
Yeah, I guess.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's kind of what that is.
They didn't have a half finger and well, Joe, you should have programmed one and found one for me. Good morning, Joe.
That was I pushed a button that said, "Hey, share your referral link." I said, "Okay, I'll share my referral link."
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It's some sort of
the one on Imperial Outpost may get me in trouble.
Well, if it pops up, Joe, go ahead and delete that.
Delete that one, buddy.
It wasn't anything we're trying to.
It was me just experiment. Oh, look, a new button.
Yeah, we get new buttons every once in a while, and we press them, as Joe sent me the GIF saying to press it. So it's all Joe's fault because he sent that picture saying press the button.
He started a trend.
And then we pressed the button, and look what happened.
So,
Joe, if you would check the IOG page to make sure that didn't post up some sort of weird...
Yeah, if it does, just delete it.
I want to give a big thanks to Tim Dvorak. So last week or the week
never heard of him.
You never heard of him? You want me to 3D print, human 3D print you one.
No, I want you to keep the 3D print. Send me the original.
No, because he may break.
How do you fix your car?
My AC went out in my truck, and every year I like to take Tim my truck to do a health check. I do an annual health check. I don't bother Tim with oil changes and simple stuff because his shop is super busy. He works for Wilhelm, and it's one of the busiest shops for the Wilhelm. So I tried to avoid minor things like oil changes. I just take something up. So my AC broke. So here's what happened. You'll respect this story because you can relate to it. All week long, my AC's blowing hot. I've checked it like the OCD person that I am. Joe here, looks clear. Thanks, Joe. I was checking it, always blowing hot. I'm like, maybe in the back of my mind, it might fix itself. You know how that works, don't you?
Yeah.
So I'm driving to the shop to go drop the truck off over at Tim's place. I go to the QT off of Grand in Youngtown to fuel up on gas, get me a big iced tea because I'll be sitting at the shop for a minimum of an hour as he goes through. I have an appointment.
Yeah.
Get back in the truck, starts blowing cold air. I'm like, what the? Why is it blowing cold air? Right. It's like when you go to take your car to the shop, it stops making the noise that it was making for the past week. Get it over there, but it is making this weird noise inside the compartment of my truck, like a thunking noise. Like it sounds like something's rotating, and it's got like an extra piece that's hitting the dashboard.
Right.
That's what it sounds like. I'm turning it off, turning it on. I get over to the shop. I'm early, like always. Turning it on, turning it off. It's working. Tim shows up. All right, Mike, what's up? Well, apparently nothing. So I tell him my story. I'm like, dude, you're not going to believe me. I don't know what to tell you. I tell him that he immediately knew what the problem was. He's like, oh, your actuators went out on the flap that controls the hot, cold air. That's an easy fix. I'm like, oh, sweet. So he did the complete oil change, tire rotation, health inspection, checked all my fluids,
Yeah.
fixed the actuators, like $800 out the door. Life is good. Super happy.
Awesome.
So yeah, so that
Yeah,
was
that's good.
I don't have to go the summer without AC. I was a little worried about that.
He's good people.
He is. He's the reason I followed Tim from shop to shop.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tim has worked at a few different shops that since I've started going to him. I think I started going to him when he was at Kelly's off of 43rd and Olive.
Yep. Yep.
And I know he was at Jake's twice. So, but he left Kelly's, went to Jake's, and now he's at Wilhelm's, and I've followed him around.
But,
If he's one of those guys, if he tells me something's wrong, fix it. I don't care
yeah,
because I trust what he's telling me.
absolutely.
I wish I could find an AC guy like that.
When I met Tim, he was working for Pet Boys. And my GW order arrived on Thursday almost every week.
Mm-hmm.
He scheduled his 1 day a week off to be there, to be Thursdays, and he would show up at my shop. He'd usually be waiting for me when I got there. And he would hang out in the shop and help me put away the GW order.
What shop was this? Is this
this is Waterloo Games at 28th and Cactus.
Okay, yeah.
And my favorite story was at that point in time I was driving a 1986 Dodge Ram 4x4, and I remember he and I were playing a game of Warhammer Fantasy in the game room, and we had my truck parked behind the store, and we were flushing the radiator.
Oh my!
And so we would take turns when I was doing my turn, Tim would go check on the truck, and then he'd come in and do his turn. I'd go check on the truck. But I basically, when I went to work for Waterloo, they couldn't pay me what they thought I was worth, so I got $400 in store credit every month. After 3 months of that, you start wondering, what am I going to buy with my credit this month? So I started trading store credit to Tim for car repairs.
And he did it happily.
He did.
Yeah.
He was also the reason we had the swear jar.
Yeah.
Not because he was vulgar or mean.
No.
He would. It was just. And I'm sure if someone was climbing on the roof of that building, they would find so many dice and so many models that Tim he'd get frustrated, walk out to the front store and throw his dice on the top of the roof of the shopping center.
Joe mentions that he's been following Tim around since Sun Devil. So, yeah. So I just wanted to give a big shout out. He's at Wilhelm's off of 83rd Avenue in Peoria. So if you happen to need a car fixed, go schedule an appointment for Tim Dvorak. And
if Tim tells you there's something wrong with your vehicle, you can guarantee that something is wrong with your vehicle.
Well, he's also really cool about it. He's like, well, you don't really need to fix it right now, but you might want to start saving some pennies because you're probably going to end up needing to fix it next time in a couple months.
And quite frankly, he's one of my favorite people to play in any kind of miniature.
Any game. I played him. Like, we used to do all the Tim would prepay.
When we put the square jar in at Waterloo, this was back in 94, 95. I had a Youngbloods group that I brought in every Saturday. We'd bring in young kids into the shop and show them how to play 40K of fantasy, how to paint miniatures. We run through the whole gambit. And on Wednesdays, I would invite the parents in Wednesday evenings to meet me, get to see the shop, and I'd explain to them what was going on. And I'd be walking around the shop, and I'd be talking to people about what the Youngbloods program was about, how the story, is family oriented, blah, 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 blah. And I'm walking this couple around the shop and showing them all the different stuff we carried and the GW wall, of course. And then from the back, I hear, "Son of a bitch." And I just stopped and I went, you have to take that into context. And then Tim comes walking out with a $20 bill. And I had one, those big plastic barrel looking pretzel containers you can buy? That sit on my front counter, and it had swear jar. And basically, anybody put money in, I would buy pizza for the guys when that got full. And Tim comes walking out, and he goes, "Sorry about that, Jeff. I'm going to prepay." And he throws his $20 bill in the swear jar and goes back. And I said, "Yeah." I said, "That happens sometimes because it's competitive." And the parents understood. They started laughing. But the timing was perfect. I'm going, "Yeah, we're kind of family oriented. Really getting people. Son of a bitch. Hang on, I can explain that."
He probably failed an animosity roll
Yeah,
for
something.
torts, and it
Yeah.
all went sideways.
But he's good people. He's a great mechanic. If you know Tim, you have the privilege of knowing Tim. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, and
he had just moved to Arizona when he started coming to my shop. He just got there.
He talks about going back to Michigan, so I think he came out from Michigan.
Yeah, he came from Michigan. I think his dad, with all the stuff that went on with his dad and everything else, I think he's a little homesick.
So. Yeah. Well, I just wanted to give a shout out.
Absolutely.
Just, I could have went to another shop and they would have said it was my compressor, even though it wasn't, and charged me all kinds of money just to. I'll never understand. Well, I understand why people do it. I just don't agree with why rip people off. Like, especially work. Like, everyone's trying to survive. Like, just being honest.
It's weird. And the problem is when people do that, it basically those people that don't also bear the brunt of that reputation, like auto mechanics.
Yeah.
Auto mechanics right now, you don't trust the auto mechanic, not because you met the guy, not because you took your car there, but because of the reputation of generally an auto mechanic.
Yeah.
Why as a salesman, I've been a salesman most of my adult life. But as a salesman, I don't like being compared to a car salesman. So because of the reputation of said car salesman.
Sleazy snakes.
Yeah, and most of them aren't. It's just those small handful that paint the picture for everybody else.
Well, I've told you my story. So I used to go to Brake Masters out here in Surprise. So when we moved out to Surprise, I went to Brake Masters, and the guy that ran the Brake Masters, anytime I took my car in there, he literally took me into the garage and showed me what was broken.
Sure.
Or told me what was broken and explained to me what was going on. And then when I came to pick my car up, he would show me the broken part. I had such confidence in him. Then when he got promoted, because his Brake Masters was really popular, he got promoted into like higher up court, like a area manager or district.
Right.
The new guy that came in, nope, this totally changed, didn't show anything. Eventually I just got to the point, like, I just don't trust what you're telling me, because I would talk to Tim and he'd be like, that don't make sense. Like, just weird stuff like that. Or every time I took my car in there, I needed new rotors for my brakes. I'm like, how do I need new rotors every time I come in here to get my car looked at?
When I first moved to this part of the state, when I was at GW, I was looking for a decent mechanic. And I had been, quite frankly, I had been spoiled about Tim. Having Tim in my shop every week spoiled me on car repair.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it just did. And so I was looking for a mechanic. And there was a place, I won't mention the name of the place in town. But basically, it was a father and son operation, and the son had just taken over.
Yeah.
And I went in and I literally told him, I said, "Listen," I said, my dad and my brother are both certified wrenches. I know enough to work on cars myself, on older cars. I go, but I just don't want to do it. That's why I'm out of the. I'm not a certified wrench. So what he would do is I would go in, I'd bring my car in, they'd do a diagnostic, and then he would sit down with me. He'd literally bring me into his office, and he'd sit down and go through what the car needed, and he'd go, "Well, you could probably do this yourself, but you might want to have this done. And you could do this, but you're going to need me to do this afterwards. So bring it back in." And he'd walk down through that and made life really, really good.
Right.
But recently, that operation, still a father and son, but it's now the new guy and his son. I came back from Arizona this last time. His new son has taken over that place, and it's completely different. It doesn't provide that kind of service.
I guess people just look short term.
Yeah.
I need to make this much money this month. And they don't look at the long term of, well, if I'm an honest shop and I give everyone a fair deal and I'm honest with them and they feel comfortable and confident that we're telling them what needs to happen and how it needs to get done, we build a bigger customer base. So we're always people are coming back, that repeat customer. And that's what I don't think some of these, like the place I went to replace my radiator, and they didn't replace my radiator cap.
Right.
And my radiator cap was leaking also, which made me go, well, was it my radiator cap or my radiator?
Yeah.
because you used my old radiator cap and it's leaking, and you told me I needed a new radiator. And then when I said something, they're like, "Yeah, you didn't tell us to replace the cap." Why would you just not replace the cap?
Yeah, and the same principle we're talking about with auto mechanics works for game shops as well.
Yeah.
There are some game shops you walk in and you're treated like, hey man, I'm glad you're here. You become part of the group. And even though it feels like a clubhouse, it's not.
Right.
Because that's the danger. You get some places that are clubhouses and no new people can fit into that. But you get a shop that you walk in and you feel good. It's the same thing with game shops. They're all based on who the personality is, the person running the
place. Yeah. Well, that's what I love about Darren's shop. I go into Darren's shop and it's not Cheers, like, you know what I mean? It's like, but people, it's just, you kind of got that relaxed atmosphere, and it's like, come on in and, look around. If you have any questions, let us know. Granted, yeah, there's cameras up and there's signs up because theft is a real thing, unfortunately. And that doesn't give you that warm, fuzzy feeling, but it has to be done because people, well, as we know, like to shove stuff down their pants and don't feel they should have to pay for it. But yeah, I like that. But you go to some others, I've been to a lot of game stores, and sometimes they won't even acknowledge you exist. You literally can walk in, walk around, look around, and walk out, and nobody says a word to you. It's like, yeah, I'm not coming back.
Most of the shops I have encountered of late, they want to carry product that requires no real work for them. They want you to just walk in and buy it.
Right.
They don't want to have to explain it to you or teach you or show you or provide a place for you to play.
Right.
They don't. It's kind of a thing. And it's kind
turn and burn.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and that just doesn't work. So, anywho, well, I actually went down a nostalgia rabbit hole.
Oh no, what was that?
Oh, well, nostalgia. It's about my past. So I was thinking about just old products, like I've been looking at Warhammer Fantasy 2nd Edition again, which I have some of the books, and I've been looking at that product and just going, man, like these older games, they were still good games. Why do I need the new stuff? I'm looking at the old stuff.
Sure.
So it got me thinking about GW a lot.
Right.
You also got to keep in mind, I drive a truck for 10 hours a day and I have no one to talk to but the radio and myself.
There you go.
So I have very long conversations with myself.
That probably answered a lot of questions for a lot of people that watch
us. I was saying, what is the one product? So GW, we both can agree, puts out amazing models.
Yep.
Make amazing games.
Yep.
And know how to screw them up.
That's been that's mine. Yeah, I do that all the time. I say that all the time. Even when I work there.
There's one product that they made back in the day, which was Tuesday.
Yeah, it was everything back in the day. That day was a Tuesday.
Which was probably the one product that could have, in today's market, would span pretty much the entire gaming industry as far as people that could use this particular product. And it's not a hobby product, it's an actual gaming product. But for whatever reason, it's a product that, they discontinued a long time ago. Mighty Empires. Remember Mighty Empires? The hexagon tiles. They did 2 of them. They did 40K in Fantasy. The 40K, I think, is called Planetary Strike or something
like that. Yeah.
But those tiles, back in the day, they were made. Well, Mighty Empires was a board game. I don't know.
Mark.
Hey, Mark. It was like an actual board game campaign. Yeah. Like it was, but then I think it was 2007, they made the plastic tiles. It was no longer a board game. It was just a campaign map.
Yeah, pretty much.
When everybody, it got me thinking about how we used to game back in the day, where every Friday night, all day Saturday and Sunday, we were at the game stores. And we used to have the big store campaign. The big store campaign settings or the map campaigns, and everybody was playing. And I was like, man, Mighty Empires, first of all, they were cool, but not everybody needed them back then. Like one person needed to buy it and that was it.
Yeah.
But now, like if you think of with RPG games, it would be a really cool feature for map campaigns and RPG games and in miniature games, all games, just fantasy, sci-fi. It can be used as a map campaign. I was just like, that would be an actual really, in today's market, a cool product to get back into the stores. And I was just like, I was just being nostalgic about it because it is one of those things in the GW line that wasn't specifically could only be used for GW products.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It had a broader reach as far as the market goes. And I'm just like, man, they should bring that. Like, that's one of those things like that. How hard would it be for them to bring that one back? Not too hard.
Yeah, wait,
Well,
yeah. I remember it. It was awesome. Yeah, I went down. It's kind of funny you say that because with at Adepticon they had the big reveal, and of course Space Wolves. I think I remember correctly, Space Wolves was the only thing they talked about.
That's all I remember. That's all I remember
from
last week was Space Wolves.
That made me nostalgic. As a matter of fact, when I posted, they gave everybody a model of the new Blood Claw, and I didn't go because I just forgot about it. Luckily, I managed to score that model from a friend of mine, and as I painted it up and I posted it, and literally all I put in the comments was "feels like I'm home," because I've been playing Space Wolves since 1988.
Yeah.
And I've never played. I mean, the only other army I ever played for 40K were squads, which is why I have a Votan army now.
Right.
So I've been very nostalgic. So I literally sat down and started rereading my original Rogue Trader book.
Oh boy!
And there's in my head, if I don't have a gaming group around me right now, I mean, I just don't. But if I did, I'd be going, "Hey, this Saturday we're playing Rogue Trader." And they're all going to say, what, the RPG? And wait, no, the original 1987 released Rogue Trader 40K rules. And I've made copies. Here's how you make an army. And we're playing that because that was how it all started for me. And I was actually so excited. What does Jake have to say?
Well, he saw some of those at Adepticon. Where
I was going to say they can 3D print those hex tiles now. Too.
Yeah. No,
I did the same thing.
Huh? I went down that rabbit hole.
Yes, I'm about halfway through the book, and there's a lot of stuff. I mean, we used to do death world scenarios with which I remember I had an entire squad of Marines destroyed by a Catholian Cudbear. You know, they came running out of a cave. Because not only am I fighting Darren's orcs, but I'm also having to deal with just what the planet was throwing at me.
Yeah.
And then you could modify stats. You could spend points to modify their characteristics. It was just
Rogue Trader
it was a horribly bad system compared to what has come since. But it was a heck of a lot of fun.
Well, and it was
definitely had more of a role playing feel than a miniature game feel.
That's what I was saying. It's more RPG adjacent than it is miniature.
Yeah.
Which it probably might have come out of more of their gaming from that time. Maybe they were trying to be more competitive with RPG games and trying to draw that audience in. I don't know, or it's just the British. That's what they made.
Yeah. I was kind of leafing through it, and I found the section of Rogue Trader because I originally started playing Crimson Fist. That was the Battle of the Farm, which was their scenario with orcs and Crimson Fist. And but then I came across the monastery fortress of the Space Wolves. I don't even think they refer to it as the Fang. It was just called the monastery, and it had a cutaway, a 3D picture of the Space Wolf monastery, and it showed you where different things went when it was talking about the Adepts of Astartes, and that right there started me on the path to Space Wolves. So it's kind of funny that you and I both kind of did this nostalgic thing going down. It happens when you get to be our age.
Well, you just start remembering because newer people just getting into the hobby.
Yeah,
they don't know that they don't know all the things. Like GW did a lot of weird one-off short production run products that didn't last very long. That picture is awesome.
It is awesome. It's a great picture.
So,
just reading the credits of the book. Who wrote what? Brian Ansel and all these different guys that back then were GW. It was just kind of really kind of an amazing read. And I'm going to finish it, and I'm never going to get a chance to play it again. But I would love to have just one day of getting a close circle of friends to do a Death Road scenario where we've got basically maybe 2 or 3 guys per side, doing a battle against each other, and then every terrain you've got something that could happen that's nasty, and just we had to deal with that as well because it's so much different. Because I've been watching a lot of live streams. There's actually the battle for to defeat Alzheimer's is down in Havre de Grace, which is about a 20-minute drive for me.
Yeah.
So I may go down, give them my $20 towards Alzheimer's, get in, just kind of go around and just check it out. But the modern 40K is not like that Death World type where you just got together with friends, had a good time. It just isn't. That's not promoted as much. No. What's Jake saying?
He's talking about how come Flesh Eaters is his favorite because
when you go through the original chapters, there's the Flesh Eaters are in there. I mean, they're quite prominent in there actually. Yeah. It's actually a lot of fun. It's been a nice read. I really actually enjoyed it.
It's good to go down that path and just reminisce some of those things. And I did. Jake's talking about the 3D printing. I looked at a lot of different. A lot of people are doing it. A lot of people are making those hex. They got their own style. They're not just copies of GWs. They've got their own locking system. Some people are doing magnets and things. I'm like, all right. So that's kind of got me churning. I'm not making commitments, but churning the 3D printer. Do I buy a 3D printer? Do I not buy a 3D printer? But I will say, if you find the Mighty Empires box set, the original, which wasn't a lot of tiles, it had, it's a big box set. $270 on eBay.
That's not bad, actually.
They were like $40 in the store back then.
But if you think now, my motto: something's only worth what someone's willing to pay.
Right.
But in your mind, especially the passion that you obviously have for it, and just the memory and that rabbit hole you went down.
Yeah,
that's not as much as I thought it would be.
No, it could be.
I wouldn't pay it, but
no.
Yeah, but
luckily I found Planetary Strike on Facebook Marketplace one day.
Right.
And the guy sold it to me for like $40-$50. So I have the 40K one. So I could do something with the 40K one. Because the whole idea with the 40K and sci-fi or fantasy, they could be intermixed.
Right.
Like ground is ground. It's like, yeah, the 40K one's more blown out and stuff. But you don't have to use the sci-fi buildings and the ones with the sci-fi stuff on it. You could just use the flat ground and stuff like that. But yeah, so it was just a nostalgia trip. And I it's always good to kind of think about those things. And
the only thing that made me sad reading the Rogue Trader 40K book was the fact that it wasn't my original. It wasn't the original because that one had fallen apart decades ago. I mean, I had pages I'd have to keep putting back in, and it literally that book. I mean, too many times of me putting it on the table, doing this to the seam to get it to set open,
cracking the
that book just fell apart.
But
fortunately, they reprinted it.
So. And I think that was a smart thing for GW to do, to reprint some of that stuff for them, because they also did Slaves of Darkness. Oh boy.
Crimson Fist, Iron Hands, Space Wolves, Dark Angels who were black armored, Blood Angels, Blood Drinkers, Silver Skulls, Ultramarines, White Scars, Rainbow Warriors, Flesh Terrors, Flesh Eaters. That's the original 12 that were featured. Now, here's my question.
What?
I would like to take either a survey or place a bet that either Jake pulled those out of his brain, all right, or he grabbed the book and went through it. With Jake, the amount of knowledge that man has about just old games, I'm half believing he just pulled that off the top of his head.
Just kind of do it.
So you have to let us know before I start taking wagers from people.
Yeah. Blood drinkers. I wonder what they do.
I tried to do that while I'm having the conversation, and that little voice inside your head lets you know you're being silly. But Jeff, what the hell? There's no way. You get Space Wolves and Rainbow Warriors, and that's it.
Didn't
he's lying in bed with his Rogue Trader book. That's disturbing.
That is a little bit top of mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually agree with that. He probably did off the top of his head.
Gorilla Miniatures, didn't he do a retro gaming? He went back and found a bunch of his old miniatures and painted up a retro Rogue Trader army.
Yeah,
I guess they played Rogue Trader, like they actually played the game on their channel at one point. So
Yeah.
You could bring that game back and still play it. It may be a little bit harder to find all the old miniatures, like
Yeah,
the real original old miniatures. I'm
yeah,
talking.
yeah. I mean, back then you could actually buy a lot of the creatures they talk about because there's a whole bestiary in there, like a they list all these different creatures you can run into on Death World. In that point in time, Gene Stealers and Tyranids were not the same race;
Right.
they were actually separate. So,
and they were more of just encounters.
yeah, you basically when you did a Death World scenario, whenever you got within I think 6 inches of a piece of terrain, you had to roll on a chart, and something would happen.
Jake's already wanting to do it.
I would be all about that, Jake. I would be all about that.
Yeah.
I would be there. I would say Battlefront. I'm done. I have to run this event.
Yeah, there you go. It could happen.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Well, that's what I think. When GW does reproduce some of those old products, they actually people want them. People want to go out and buy them and have them, and they want to relive those games.
The problem is they can't help themselves whenever they do a throwback, they have to make some changes.
Sure.
And I get that. Yeah. There's a couple reasons for it. A, you want it to sell to a new audience, and B, right. I've worked in game companies and stuff so long that when you get a new design team, they all have a desire to put their mark on it. And I've lived that because when Harry and I wrote Sons of Fenris and Wolf's Honor, we wanted to leave our mark on the 40K universe. And we did. There's a character we created that has been mentioned in several other books by different authors that Harry and I created. So they try to make it theirs. Like I was real excited when I heard the first rumors about Dreadfleet.
Yes.
Because I thought it was a return of Man of War. Nothing like Man of War.
Right.
So that's the only disappointing part is when they do try to bring something nostalgic out or that has some kind of nostalgic feel, they have a tendency to want to change it. And I mean, I get it, but as that's the business guy in me that's been working in game shops and game companies for so long. But the hobbies, no, just give me the old one. I like the old one.
Just reprint and go. And now the reality of it is GW is having production issues. Everybody knows they're having production issues. It's no big secret.
Yep.
So it's kind of hard to do a throwback product when you can't even get your regular product. So throwback products are like I've mentioned it. I've heard it mentioned millions of. Why don't we have Blood or Space Hulk just as a regular product line? They just can't fit it into their product line. Like they can't even get their core stuff out fast enough.
Well, first of all, yeah, Jake's right. That's what killed Dreadfleet. I agree completely.
Oh yeah.
But now I have to say, with Old World, I like what they're doing with Old World because a lot of their presentations that we showed last week, they had the new Cathay models, which are really, really. I am. Okay, you can really tell I'm excited because I've almost dropped like 4 F-bombs in this conversation.
I'm waiting for one.
When the passion gets involved, that's when Jeff starts being potty mouth. The Cathay were gorgeous.
Yes.
So they did this brand new army, but then they release a whole bunch of new stuff, and they'll probably only be produced for a short window. But I really like the way they're handling Old World, and the Old World rules are actually pretty cool.
Well, they're almost like the old world. They're almost like the old game.
Yeah. They're very close. And
some little tweaks and little changes, but
I don't mind little tweaks. It's when you completely redo everything.
Yeah.
Because anything can be improved.
Yes.
But they make these dramatic changes to something. But Old World, actually, I like what they're doing. Which actually, this whole thing prompted me to pull out my I have some Forge World Chaos Dwarves.
Mm-hmm.
That I finally rebased to the actual back to the regimental square bases, and I'm looking forward to playing some Old World here soon.
Very cool, very cool. Well, hopefully they get a Chaos Dwarf book out soon. That would be.
Yeah, well, they've already got the list,
right.
And there's a great army builder website you can go to build Old World armies, and it even tells you like what the base size should be now. Because like for example, the Forge World Bull Centaurs are huge.
Right.
They're the size of dragon ogres.
In the Shire. Hey,
This
JP,
is
how are
true.
you,
How you doing, Josh? This is
buddy?
good. This is good. So
Uh,
I've been real excited about that. I mean, and quite frankly, one of the biggest things is my biggest fear on the release of the Space Wolves is that we were going to see the end to Grey Hunters and Blood Claws.
you think?
I'm glad both of those were featured in the new launch, as well as Wolfguard Battle Leaders, and then the Head Takers, which are basically, from everything I've read, are the answer to Blade Guard for the Space Wolves.
Well, it'd be nice to see them refresh the Space Wolf line. You kind of got shafted the last release with the Space Wolves, so it'll be nice to see you get like excited about all the.
I've been real. I painted up that model, and like I said, I just thought, okay. Well, at first, I've been painting white scars for so long, I had to stop and go, okay, how do I paint regular Space Wolves? Hang on a minute. It's been a couple years.
Yeah.
So,
well, speaking of painting, should
yeah.
we show off some?
We don't have a lot, but I do have some.
Well, but you have the one
The one
you
I'm
painted.
talking about.
Yeah,
I do have that one.
You have the one.
I have the one. There we go.
And I'm out of coffee.
I have my tea. So, ta-da!
This is
I'm
Don.
going to shut my overhead light off so I can actually see.
This is Don, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, Don's Juggernaut.
Yeah.
Protocol. That's the other thing I'm getting excited about. My movie's coming out in July, 2 days before my birthday. I plan on living in the cinema that weekend, watching the new Fantastic Four film. And I'm hoping Fantastic Four enter Crisis Protocol, because then I will dive into Crisis Protocol head first.
There you go. We'll see what happens. Very nice. Very nice. Look at that.
The new zombie. Oh yeah, that's gonna look great.
What's that?
Jake is talking about he has to buy the new Prince Valdari. I'm going to screw his name up. Vordry, I guess, when he comes out, the new Zombie Dragon and Vampire Rider. Yeah, that would be cool.
Vampire.
This is Don's Juggernaut. Looks great as always. Don's putting out some fantastic stuff.
Yeah, it's good to see him posting some stuff up on the Discord.
Yeah, I think Joe took a break this week. This is the only entry I had from Joe.
Little scatter train.
Little scatter train. I think our objective markers, something or other, but they look great. They look good. And then my stuff. That's all we had.
Look at that. Chaos?
Hang on a minute. I'm surprised that no one checked to see if I was on with my lack of output.
No, we know you.
Well, you want a wellness check? Could somebody go to Joe's house, make sure he's alive, because he didn't put a bunch of stuff on?
Let me call Phoenix PD.
Yeah, there we go.
Is this Chaos?
These are more Aquelans.
Okay.
Yeah, I painted a bunch of stuff that way. I painted my Death Riders. I painted another thing of Aquelans. I painted a Age of Sigmar Lord Vigilant or whatever his name is. So I was busy.
Busy.
Okay, not on. I have no idea what that means. I'm confused. Are you confused?
I wonder if it was check on me. No one checked on me because of his low output.
Oh, got it. I'm with you. It was okay. I'm with you. All right. These are Quillins.
Yeah.
I knocked those out. So, and then I did this guy.
What is that?
That is basically he's on I'm not sure what that mount is called, but it's it's basically a Astro Templar.
All right.
This was out of the Scaventide set.
All right.
And the guy that I'm painting for, one of them done up as Astro Templars, which has got that pink, that purplish pink.
All right.
So, but he's doing the bases himself, so I don't have to do the bases. Jake's telling Joe to just get it together.
Get it together. Get some stuff painted.
So, but that was those first two pictures and the Death Riders and the other stuff that I showed last week. I painted all in that.
You're not done with that model, though, are you?
I am done.
You didn't do the rim of the base.
Okay, let me state it again. The owner of the model is doing the bases.
Oh, okay. I missed that part. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he wants to do the bases himself. All I'm going to do is what's on top of the base. He's going to do the rest himself. So he wants them all to look the way he wants them to look. He just wanted me to do the guy on top.
Very cool. Well, that's a
which
good commission for you.
which is easy for me.
Yeah,
But I do like the Astro Templar look. It's better than that gold. So
I like it. It's just a weird looking model, but
it's Stormcast Eternals. And then here's the back of it.
oh yeah, very nice.
So
Nice little blue flame going on.
yeah, it was fun to paint. It was really fun to paint.
Love it.
But again, if I was gonna play Age of Sigmar, that would be the faction I would use. Yeah.
I was looking at the Skaven Tide box because I was looking at the Spearhead rules. I don't listen to anybody talk.
Glad you finally caught up with me, Joe. I've known that since we started this show.
Yeah, I know.
And it's true the other way as well. I mean, so we've just gotten really good at not rolling our eyes.
Not according to my wife. I roll my eyes all the time.
Oh, really? Okay. And then I got to work on this lovely guy. That's the box when they handed these out. That's the box that came in. Which, believe it or not, I'm going to hang on to that box forever.
Are you going to frame it and put it on your wall?
I probably will. It'd be like I'll press it in a book like a flower.
There you go.
And only bring it out when special people come over.
Do you have like a Space Wolf journal that you write about your feelings in? And
yeah, it's called Sons of Fenris and Wolf's Honor. There was two of them. That's Harry and I's journal. We talked about this is how we would want to be,
Jake's talking about Age of Sigmar is great, and Spearhead is really well done.
Yeah,
I've been watching some videos on Spearhead. I'm like, it's got my attention.
I got turned off to Age of Sigmar because I've always been for fantasy as either my Bretonians or my Chaos Dwarves.
Right.
And guess who's not in Age of Sigmar?
Both of them. I guess we could split a tie. You could take the Stormcast, and I can do the rats.
Well, unfortunately, a buddy of mine who happens to be in Sweden, he and I were talking about Old World, and I gave him my rats this week.
Oh.
So, because he's an old-time Skaven player.
There you go.
Yeah. So.
Very cool.
But here's my my blood claw.
Love it. Just love it. Now, when the Space Wolves come back out, you should probably see if can write a new Space Wolf novel.
Harry and I are working on one right now.
There you go. When they come back out, are you going to do a traditional Space Wolf army or
yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'm gonna try to knock out I've got like 3 units left to finish off my Wolf Spear.
Okay.
I mean, as far as I want to take them.
Right.
I've got an Executioner, I've got some more heavy intercessors, and I want to do a couple more Primaris unit types. But then I'm going to go full bore on my regular wolves. But what excited me more than anything else was that the fact they have Blood Claws and Grey Hunters. They now have an answer to the Blade Guard situation. They have the Wolf Priest now, and the Wolf Priest is back to being the medic for the Space Wolves. So I'm really kind of excited about Herald Deathwolf, great company. I think personally they do the Ragnar Blackmane yellow shoulder pad way too much.
Right.
And I get why they do that, but I like Herald Deathwolf myself. However, that's the other thing I'm waiting to see.
Good morning, Rob.
If Thunderwolves actually make it
Whoa, what the heck is that?
And I'm going to share that here in a minute. So that's I'm waiting for that when the book comes out, which, by the way, Jake, if you get a date on when that's coming out, let me know. I know we talked about, you said something you probably figured around July. And then we'll chat about getting me 1 or 2 of these sets.
1 or 2 of these sets. You're going to go nuts, dude.
Yeah, I'm going to go crazy. But that's my Space Wolf guy. And then this I picked up at Adepticon. All
right.
But they didn't have it in stock, so they shipped it to me, and that just arrived this week.
All right.
That is a bust. It's about 5 inches tall.
All right.
It's a lovely Viking that I'm going to try to get some paint on at some point.
3D printed, cast molded. It's red, so that's a unique color for something that's not painted yet.
It's 3D printed in that red resin. So
okay.
Yeah, but it's gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful.
Usually, the color of the resin can relate to the quality of, like, it could be a super detail 8K. Like,
It is.
colors always have some sort of meaning when you print with it.
I don't. All of the stuff they print in red is Lethal Shadows is the name of the little company out of. This came from Washington State. So
detail from the photo looks phenomenal. So
yeah, it is. It's absolutely gorgeous model.
I was so fixated on the model, then you flipped over. I was like,
yeah, but there he is.
Yeah, I really wasn't going to take my Nova Wolves further than a couple kill team squads, but since we have new puppy figures, full army might be in the future. Look at that. We're going to have like a whole Space Wolf pack on
There's a lot of us. There's a big underground movement.
There's a movement, all right. And it's under.
Accurate, but mean.
And I'll be the only mushroom player.
Yeah, no, I'm
he has tiny legs. He's talking about your bust.
Yes, he has one. He has one little leg. One little leg.
One little peg for a leg.
Little base.
That's funny. That's hilarious. He got cut off at the. Never mind.
So,
very cool.
It was a great customer service. I got it real quick. The printing is absolutely gorgeous. But I'm going to put some primer on it. I've got two big projects I'm getting ready to work on. I'm also getting ready to start my large Johnny Storm from Fantastic Four.
Ooh. Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to put some. I got to break out the airbrush today to airbrush some other stuff. So I'm gonna put a nice coat, really bright, probably the Proacryl titanium white.
Is that a 3D print that you got of John?
It is a 3D print. Yes.
I didn't know if you got one of the old model kits or something.
Nope.
Look at that.
Yeah. So I'm going to hit it. Because I want to do it wherever there's flame. You'll have the actual flame color, and this is going to be his normal color, like he's just igniting. Okay. But I got some small gap fills down here. Then I'm going to hit it with titanium white, and then start bringing up the flame.
Good morning, Victor. Just put 12 little Nurgling or Snotlings on there.
That would be awesome.
I've got
or I could just buy one of I can get one of the 3D printed little Necron bug things and just do that. This will be my Viking Darth Maul.
Perfect.
Spider legs.
Perfect. You can use them in Conflict 47.
There you go. I'm interested to see where they go with that, by the way.
I am super interested to see where they go with it. We kind of have an understanding that they're most likely going to shift to the 3rd edition bolt action rules.
Yeah.
Which would make some sense. I don't know enough about 3rd edition bolt action rules to know if it would be, because there was something about Conflict 47 and the simplicity of the 1st edition bolt action rules that made the game fun. Because you're doing with weird World War II stuff, so it just kind of felt good with it. It'll be interesting to see how it goes with the 3rd edition.
Well, I believe, with them actually now, instead of partnering up and actually owning it outright, and the new design team that John's put together, I think it's going to be good. I'm a big Andy Chambers fan. So.
Well, it'll be good to get some plastic models out for the weird stuff, because some of those I played the Russians and I had a couple of the werewolves where I had to take my drill and pin those arms together because they were crazy. I wish I could tell you all the Conflict 47 stuff.
Yeah, he probably knows a little more than we do.
Yeah, well, I would assume he's an inside information with the shops, which is fine.
It's going to be great. It's going to, well, just Jake is like really connected. Even without the shop, he's just massively connected.
So I'm interested to see where it goes with that, because it's a good game, and I like having dual purpose games.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because I could still take the Russian stuff and play regular bolt action, and then I can still add in a few units of weird World War II stuff, and now we're playing a different game, but we're still using the same mechanics, and it just makes it feel a little bit good. So
I actually enjoyed it, because when we started playing Conflict 47, they put out the jump infantry for the U.S. and they didn't have any models available at that time.
I'm under an NDA. Yeah. And you're under bed covers, so as we heard, you're laying in bed. with your Rogue Trader book.
Yeah, and apparently an NDA from Conflict 49.
There you
But I had to scratch build all mine, and I forget where I got the little jump packs. But I
go. Weren't
made them.
they like Cromlech or something like one
Yeah,
of
they were
one of
Cromlech or
those?
something. But I took my bolt action infantry and just put these really cool jump packs on them so I
Yeah,
could have them.
yeah.
And then I actually remember I was going to use Captain America to lead my army, and he was going to be that name character they did for the U.S.
Yes, yes, yes.
But it's a fun game. I'm sure that it's going to be real exciting. Again, with the design team they put together, it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, and hopefully they get some of their distribution things worked out. There was back in the day, Warlord wasn't; it had some distribution issues because then you buy like a big box of stuff. I don't know. I just remember
But
you would kind of shake your head.
the only game I think that it didn't capture me like a lot of the other ones was Red Skies.
Yeah,
Yeah, it just did. But other than that, everything they put out is actually pretty quality.
Warlord. They're getting ready to do American War of Independence. Soon for the epic.
Yeah, there's something on the horizon that they're doing as well.
That seems to be doing really well for them right now in the market. So I'm but I'm interested. The grim dark advertisement that they were doing over at Adepticon for Conflict 47 is like, ooh, it just was like, because it took away original Conflict story. It was a little bright, like the art was kind of bright, and the cover was like super grim dark. I was like, ooh, could be good, and then tie that into with French Crusades coming out. There may be some crossover with the models into Trench Crusades, possibly. I don't know enough about Trench Crusades to make any real knowledgeable comment, but isn't Trench Crusades kind of like a weird?
Yeah, there's something about it. I apparently on many occasions what I do now, especially if it's got decent miniatures, I do this.
I don't see it.
I don't see it. I'm not going to buy it.
Just put your head in the sand.
Then people like you and Jake, oh hey Jeff, look over. Ah.
Well, and now have you heard has there been any update on the Space Wolf release?
No, other than the launch. But like I said, I think Jake's in the right ballpark. I think we're looking at sometime around July.
But that's not too far then. That you can save some pennies.
Yeah. Well, that's also a great motivator. Nope, I don't need that. I've got to buy this soon.
Yes. Well, you may have some issues with the Fantastic Four weekend opening. You may spend a little bit of money there.
I'm going to be. That's going to be after the first time I see it, will tell me where I'm going to go from there. But everything I've seen so far about the movie looks really good.
Have you Trench Crusades? Oh, we're World War One.
World War One.
You may be able to use some of the stuff, but not all of it, obviously.
There's a lot of guys into it. And like I said, it was really good. I didn't get enough time. The problem was for me, I didn't locate the open gaming area
at
Adepticon as quickly as I wanted to. So I gotta make sure I didn't get in there as often as I wanted. So I had other people I wanted to see and other people I wanted to talk to, and but there's always next year.
There's always next year. Well, hopefully next year you're going as Jeff.
We'll see. I hope. I want to.
Yeah, that's always a good thing. Well, and again, we'll see if the Space Wolves come out in July, then we'll probably lose Jeff.
Between the Space Wolf release and Fantastic Four, again, it's a speculation.
Yeah,
that we're looking at July. It could not be. They may release it until Christmas.
And we also talked Fantastic Four. Superman, I will be in the theater. There was also kind of that grumbling, like maybe Space Wolves and Orcs were going to be in a 11th edition starter box.
Yeah, something like that. That was one of the rumors. I just want to get my hands on the book at this point now because that'll answer a lot of my questions. Well, a lot of everybody's questions.
Well, once you can see the stats and you can see the special abilities and all the.
Harry and I are doing a Wolfspear novel right now that we're working on. We haven't really sit down and talked about it. We're just kind of writing some stuff, and then we're going to get together hopefully in the near future.
There you go.
I've dedicated my Monday evenings that I don't paint. I actually come in here and actually write. But we're waiting to see the codex because right now what we're talking about is centered around a Thunderwolf cav.
Oh.
And there's been some rumors, rumors are rumors, they're not substantiated, but there's been some rumors that Thunderwolf may be going away.
Something just crashed in my room, and I don't know what it was.
Oh no! So if they are going away, we're kind of waiting to see what happens there. Well,
because that could have a change in it. Like, why would you write about Thunderwolves?
We don't be spending all our time writing a novel about something that no longer exists in the universe.
Yeah.
I find it hard to believe that's going to happen because they are extremely popular.
Right.
So we'll see what happens.
Well, we'll take it one step at a time. So
yeah. So.
Now, is it next weekend you have the gaming tournament?
No, actually, it's this weekend.
Oh,
but a lot of things are going on with me. And I'm trying to knock and clear. Well, because of the coming Space Wolves and everything else, I'm trying to clear my table. So I'm going to go down today. It's called the Battle Against Alzheimer's.
Okay.
I thought it was down towards DC, but it's actually in Havre de Grace, which is right across the river from me. It's like maybe 20 miles.
So you got to get your boat?
Yeah. No, I got to cross a bridge.
Oh,
I got to pay a toll. Wow. And I'm going to go down there, and it's $20 to get the event pass.
Okay.
And I'm just going to go in and meet a couple friends there and just kind of hang out, see what's going on.
Very cool.
And do that thing. So,
all right.
It'll be interesting. But then I'm going to come back and start painting again. So.
All right.
I just got an Emperor's Children commission on its way. That's fairly sizable, and I haven't done a Chaos Army in quite a while, which would be a nice relief from all the gold and Dark Angel Deathwing stuff. I've done like 5 sets of the Deathwing.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of painting bone. And I now refuse any Custodes commissions.
Just out of spite.
Just out of the fact that gold's just too hard.
Well, Andy and I have nothing really planned today, so I got to go out and buy some new clothes. And that's about the extent. I've got to be an adult. I have a training coming up in a week, and I got to do business casual. And guess what I own? T-shirts. So.
Yeah, Jake's not wrong. He says they don't normally get rid of units. They might discontinue a kit, but they don't usually sundown a unit that's popular. No, I agree. They usually don't. If they're not, I'm kind of interested to see what they do with them to get them into Primaris scale.
Yeah, but if you guys are writing a Space Wolves book, you might as well try to tie into the new codex.
Yeah, we want to kind of make sure that we're accurate because, like I said, with the new head takers, which are kind of like the Blade Guard. Those will be kind of a nice addition we can add to it.
Sweet. So then we'll be good for next weekend.
Yeah, we should be good. Yeah, I don't have anything. I don't think anything on the horizon.
I see a lot on the horizon because I'm wrapping up this work for Jason. I'm getting so close. Like I just primed up. Awesome. I just primed up 3 more models, and then I got 3 more that still need to be primed and painted. So I'm hoping this week to have some good momentum. I'm doing Lando right now. What was his commercial? He was Lando. Didn't he do like the actor himself? He did like some commercial.
Oh yeah, he I forget what it was, but yeah, I think it was a beer
45 or
something like that. Yeah,
something like that. I don't know. Colt 45. Yeah, there you
go. Yeah, you're right. Actually, they did a lot for your Blood Angels, buddy. They really did. So.
Well, they deserve. Space Wolves need to step it up. They need to get on.
I'm sure they will. The thing is, what I find funny, and I fall victim to this all the time. I've never. GW usually does steps in the right direction. I may not like a lot of it, but they're normally in the right direction where they're going. So
yeah. No, I'm optimistic for you. I didn't like the direction they took with the orcs, but that's just a personal thing. It doesn't mean they're good or bad. It's just like, that's just not. Yeah. This wasn't for me, but it's all
good. Didn't ruin your childhood or anything.
No. DEFCON, Singwary Guard, new character, kids,
Yeah, they did. There are a lot of good stuff.
Liquor, tried it once, didn't like it. Mickey's. Oh, remember Big Mouth Mickey's?
Okay. my late teens and early 20s are just infused with Big Mouth Mickey's. My big thing is now I have a buddy that works for a meadery.
A meadery?
They make mead.
Oh, meadery. I thought you said meadery.
Meadery.
I'm like, meadery? What's a meadery?
No, meadery. They make mead, and their mead is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But it's expensive.
I can. I'm not going to deny it. I have drank Zima before.
Yeah, the new. Hey, there's nothing wrong. It's one of my favorite lines from the 13th Warrior.
Barrels and James. Remember the wine coolers.
Oh God. Howard, Jake says the new Gospel Croc is rad, and he is absolutely correct.
Yes.
Yeah. I've painted so many of those, I don't want to see another one of those again.
I think I have one floating around here someplace. Yeah. So, all right. Well, do you want to cut out?
Yeah, if you want. If we're done chatting.
Well, you got to get to a tournament, and you got stuff to do. Yeah. I got some painting I want to get accomplished today myself. I want to finish.
You and I need to have an off-camera meeting and really focus on getting back to painting online. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
You have to finish your super secret project first.
Well, I've got to start my super secret project. I'm okay talking about it once I start it, but I want to start it, and I don't want to talk about it until I start it.
You and Jake with your NDAs, blah blah blah.
Mine's not an NDA. Mine's an MDA. Mike doesn't announce. There you go. I don't want to spoil it. So I do. It's a passion project. So it's nothing.
I can't wait to see it. So
it's just a passion project, and if you know me, you know my passions.
There you go.
So that's about if I just sharing that should share everything. Pick my week project, figures and terrain. There you go.
No, he's saying he wants us to pick his week's project, figures or terrain.
I said figures. So
I'm going to go terrain.
Oh, now you have to flip a coin.
Now Joe's got to decide for his damn self.
Maybe put a figure on the terrain. Like do a train and put the figure on the train.
A good tactical rock is always a wise way to go.
Big tactical rock.
Oh, I have to tell you, the Space Marine model, the Space Wolf model came out. He's got his foot on a rock. Uh-huh. And I originally thought about doing an edit where I circled that rock and then put tactical rock in training.
Figurine. There you go.
There you go.
What's the difference? Figurine.
Wasn't she married to Uther? Oh no, that was Igraine. Sorry.
All right, everybody. We're going to cut out of here a little bit on the early side so Jeff can head across the bridge and pay his tolls and don't get stuck by a troll. Trolls under a bridge. It just all fit.
Go see 160 guys beat each other up on a 40K table.
Well, maybe you'll take some photos of some really cool Space Wolf armies.
I will attempt to.
Yeah. Well, you know how we take photos. We're terrible at it.
I'm horrible at it. But we'll try.
Dude, we're terrible. Yeah, we're just terrible. All right, we're going to bounce, and we will be back next weekend for hopefully I'll have some of my stuff done, wrapped up, and ready to go for photos. Everything's kind of waiting for clear coats, and just it's all going to get there sooner or later.
Yeah, but it'll all work out.
Yeah. So, all right, we're going to bounce. Y'all take care. Have a good week.
See everybody.